Your grandmothers were right. All men want respect. Ladies, men need admiration. They need to feel appreciated, and they need to feel that their women are proud of them. The wife may be the one to instigate most of the major changes in life. She might be the one who brings home the thicker paycheck. In some cases, she may even be older. However, the husband should be given the respect of having the clear role of being the Amir, or the leader of the family. He should be honored by the wife and the children as the guardian of the household. And he, in turn, should recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guardian of his and his wife's household. Now, of course, acknowledging that your husband is the Amir doesn't mean that you aren't vocal in sharing your opinions. One grandmother joked, the husband is the head of the family, but the wife is the neck that turns the head. You don't want to contradict or correct your husband in public. And same with husbands. You want to give each other the dignity that your partner deserves. You don't want to ever demean your spouse to your children. If you don't honor your children's parent, your children will not honor their parent either. And remember, it's still riba, or backbiting, to talk about your spouse in a way that he or she wouldn't like, even if you're only discussing your partner with people who will always love him or her. You don't want to let down your guard when it comes to your partner's rights. Ladies, if your husband ever buys you a gift that you don't love it anyway. Try to see the heart of the gift giver behind the gift. There are always gentle and cheerful ways of honestly communicating your preferences at a later time. And this is an important one for young people these days. Regardless of whether you had a social media presence before your marriage or not, once you're married, be aware of your partner's views on how much you post about yourself and your life with your partner. You want to respect each other's limits. Put your cell phone, your book, and yes, even your prayer beads away when your partner is trying to talk to you about their day. Give your undivided attention and teach your children who are old enough to understand that they are not to interrupt their parents' time together. Laugh with your partner, but never at your partner. Never laugh at your partner's expense. Okay, the next section. Make your home a haven, and ladies, make yourself his huri. And men, make yourself her hero. Now, I realize that there are many women today who are uncomfortable with the word huri. But huris are real creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are described in the Holy Quran as the companions in paradise. And I believe that it's time that we reclaim this word and own it for what it is. There's no reason why our homes cannot be little pieces of paradise, inshallah. And there's no reason why we cannot be heavenly companions for our husbands within our own homes. So when you see your beloved for the first time after he returns home or after she returns home, make sure to greet your partner and kiss him or her or hug him or her. Practicing Muslim men and women who have taqwa, God consciousness, will avoid all physical contact with men and women who are not their blood relatives. And many of them are surrounded at work by other men and women who make a real effort to look attractive and to smell good. You are the reward your husband gets at the end of a long, dry day. And you want to be soft and affectionate and fragrant. Men especially need to be physically attracted to their wives. And men want domestic bliss. What does domestic bliss look like? Everybody wants domestic bliss, so this is an umbrella definition of domestic bliss, but men especially are looking forward to escaping the world and finding that domestic bliss and support in their home. What it looks like is peace and quiet and no nagging. And it's a world that smells good, that's clean and organized, and it's not chaotic, and where a person feels welcome and a person feels supported, And so we want to make a real effort to make sure that our homes are the eye of the storm, right? The whole world is in turmoil right now. There's a big storm raging around us, but every storm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created has an eye of the storm, where everything is peaceful and calm and quiet and things are not whirling around. Our homes can be the eye of the storm, inshallah, if both husband and wife work at it. When you know that life has been stressful and busy, this goes for the men as well as the women, wait until your partner has had a chance to relax before asking them to do anything or breaking any bad news to them. Everything about you, from your clothes to your hair to your skin to your breath, should smell clean and fresh for yourself, yes, but especially so for your partner. You want to be kind and welcoming to one another's friends, but you don't ever want to be in solitude with the opposite gender. And that includes not being alone with with a person of the opposite gender on social media either. It's very easy to think that you're safe because there isn't any physical contact, but it's very easy to start to become emotionally attached to somebody else. If they're showing you kindness and friendliness, even if it's just through texting or on social media. Okay, the next section is called Conflict is Inevitable. Learn how to manage it in a healthy manner. So the first 2 years of marriage often end up being the most exciting as well as the most challenging. Even if you were to go on a fun best friends trip, you know, the men with their buddies and the women with their girlfriends, if you were to go on a trip, you're bound to rub each other the wrong way after being in each other's space for, you know, periods of time and traveling together. So of course that's going to happen even with your spouse, especially with your spouse. And so in the first couple of years, you're learning how to live with another nafs, with another ego, while your partner is also having to do the same. But what it comes down to is that marriage isn't so much about struggling against another nafs, another ego, as much as it is about struggling against your own nafs, against your own ego. So expect to be challenged, intend to grow. It's perfectly okay to have different personalities and to have different interests. Variety is a spice of life. But what you want to make sure is that both of you have the same goals for your marriage and for your future family, and that you're both on the same page about how you're going to achieve those goals, inshallah. So one of my cousins caused a bit of consternation in our family when we were having a group discussion about marriage. We were giving advice to a cousin of mine who was getting married. And he said, I don't believe in the word compromise when it comes to marriage. And my mother, she was like, what are you saying? Marriage is compromise. But then he went on to explain, if you think of everything as a compromise, you're going to keep score and you're eventually going to become bitter. Once you decide to do something, try to embrace it fully and believe in it. Don't think of it as a compromise anymore. And we all agreed that there was wisdom in that. You want to self-reflect, and you don't want to be too proud to apologize. The relief on your partner's face and the peace that comes in the home after suffering the sting of stepping on your own nafs, on your own ego, in order to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, is so, so worth it. It's worth it. It's a given that all of us are going to get angry at some point or another, but it's when tempers are flared that people's true natures are revealed. You want to be mindful of who you always want to be. Try, even if it's a struggle, to maintain your adab, your manners, your etiquettes when you're upset. Being angry is never an excuse to break or throw things, to scream, to curse, to use foul language, to slam doors, to pull hair, to scratch, to spit, to raise an arm, or to throw punches. These are all things that happen in dysfunctional marriages. There's no excuse for them ever. Don't casually toss around the D word, divorce, every time you feel overwhelmed. In regards to our interpersonal conduct when we're feeling frustrated, it's important to always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. Don't ever be disrespectful to your partner. What does disrespect look like? What is disrespect? Very simple rule of thumb. If your partner thinks you're being disrespectful, you are. That's it. If your partner says, I feel disrespected, you're being disrespectful. This is a really big one that my mom always told us, and it's a golden rule. When your spouse is angry or visibly agitated, stay quiet in the heat of the moment. You can always make your point at a later time. There's always time later. It doesn't have to be said right then and there. When addressing your disagreements, avoid using absolutes like always and never. It's not fair to forget the positives in your spouse by saying you always do this bad thing or you never do that good thing. It's rare that issues are black and white. There are always shades of gray. I just said always. Most of the time, there are shades of gray. So we shouldn't be so quick to condemn one another. Don't expect your partner to be a mind reader. If something is bothering you, discuss it. Set yourself up for success by beginning your conversation with an I statement instead of a you statement. For example, instead of saying, you left your clothes all over the bedroom again. That was so thoughtless of you. Instead, try to turn it around and say, I feel frustrated when I find clothes all over the bedroom at the end of a long day. Try to avoid getting personal and don't assume that your partner knows exactly how their actions are affecting you. Give your partner the benefit of the doubt. You want to learn to distinguish between a criticism and a complaint. A complaint is an expression of a problem that you'd like to solve. For example, it's really frustrating for me to find a messy bedroom at the end of a long day. That's a complaint. A criticism adds disrespect to the complaint. It is so frustrating for me to know that you're a slob. Why are you such a slob? How are you raised? That's a criticism. Okay, don't go to sleep angry. Stay up and fight instead. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Contrary to the age-old advice to resolve all conflicts before going to bed, sometimes it actually helps to sleep on a problem. But first, you have to calm yourself down by reminding yourself to have tawakkul, or trust in Allah. Once you've had a full night's rest, you can tackle your problems with a fresh attitude the next day. What you want to make sure to avoid is sleeping in separate beds. You'll be surprised how many problems can eventually get solved just by snuggling under the covers together. It's shaitan who wants to separate you two. Always remember that. Avoid arguing in front of your children, but if they ever do witness a loud disagreement between you and your spouse, make sure to make up and apologize in front of your children as well. Show them that marital conflict is not the end of the world and that there are healthy ways to resolve issues. Let them witness you apologizing and hugging it out. Holding grudges breeds toxicity and dysfunction. Once issues are resolved, don't keep up bringing past mistakes. Learn to forgive and then forgive every single day. Have a sense of humor about each other's flaws and foibles. For example, I am always losing my eyeglasses. Always. I have, I think, 10 pairs lying around the house. More. My husband is always collecting them and putting them in a safe place for me, but I'm still always losing them. I wish eyeglasses had the feature that the iPhone did, where you say, Siri, where are you? And your eyeglasses say, here I am. But they don't. But my husband never gets mad at me about it. He's, alhamdulillah, always got a sense of humor about me being annoying, honestly. I'm being very annoying by always searching for my glasses as I'm going out the door. But alhamdulillah, just have to have a sense of humor about each other's flaws. Go with the flow And 4 other words, just let it go. Just let it go.